Hello again. I added my McDowell hat just for fun. So, I wanted to talk a bit more about how I settled into a routine. I think that's something that is important for everybody who does a residency. And I want to emphasize that it's about finding your routine, not here's my steps on how you will find the routine that I'm doing. And I would say that it has changed for each residency that I've been on, and it changes depending on the goals that I'm trying to accomplish while I'm at a residency. As I'm recording this, there's more and more glare because the sunlight is coming in, so I apologize if that's a little distracting. So yeah, finding your routine at a residency. Some of you will probably be like, man, I don't need this information. I'm gonna just go with the flow and it'll be what it'll be. And I think that's exactly part of what I'm meaning by saying finding your routine. If that's your hope and your goal is to come to a residency and then just go where the spirit takes you, so to speak, then do that, because then that will be you fulfilling what your routine needs to be. Maybe you want to have a routine where you wake up whenever you wake up, and then you kind of feel where you want to go next. And I would say this is very conducive if you're in like a conceptualizing or a research phase in your project. Yeah, you probably don't need to set aside very rigid hours, and instead just kind of let your mind wander, go on walks, go for a bike ride, go to the library, etc., because that's what you are needing out of your time. For myself, on this particular residency, I need to get stuff done, and I wanted to be as productive as possible with my time here. And that is different from previous residencies where I've been a little more go with the flow. And it's interesting because I think I am still following the go with the flow idea, just with the added idea that I also want to make sure that certain things are done by the time that I leave. So what that meant for me was, as soon as I got here, like I said in my last video, I noted that heat was going to be something I needed to figure out, and the shower situation, because I don't have a shower in my studio space. I have to walk. Thankfully, my walk is not that bad, but I have to walk to a different building to where I have a separate bedroom where I keep like my toiletries and towels and stuff in order to then use the shower in that building and then come back. And I shared this last time. I just decided, because of the heat, that I was going to shower in the evening so that I felt refreshed by the time it was bedtime, rather than showering in the morning only to feel like I might need to shower again after a really hot day. But one of the other things about heat that I had to take into consideration was the fact that this studio gets really warm when it's hot outside. And they do give you this tip here at McDowell, especially if you're in one of these single story cottage studios, to leave your windows open at night as you're sleeping, and then to shut them all in the morning when you wake up so that you keep the cool air in, and then once again opening them in the evening to let the hot air out. And that does work pretty well, but by the time you hit like 3 p.m., the heat does, even after all that, the heat does build up inside. And that was something I had to kind of learn in my first couple days here. And so I decided that I was then going to do my work in the mornings when it's cool and in the evenings when it's cool, because when it's hot, I am pretty useless. Like, no good ideas are coming. I just want to lay down. It just makes me tired and I become unproductive. So I decided to incorporate that into my routine. So it turned out to be something like I would wake up, go get breakfast, come back, do, whatever morning stuff I needed to get ready for the day. And then maybe 8:30 or 9 o'clock till 1, I was doing some work. And in between there would come lunch. And then again, after dinner, I came back to my cottage and then would work maybe from like, again, 8:30 p.m. or 9 p.m. until 11 at the latest. But just to get another kind of round of work in there. And it did take some conscious thinking and planning on my part, but I just knew that I had to take these factors into consideration if I wanted to make sure I had some sort of routine while I was here. And it also let me have room to just veg out. So those afternoon times, I wasn't feeling guilty if I wasn't working or if I wasn't doing something quote unquote productive. It was, nope, this is in lieu of the fact that I'm going to work later tonight some more. So I get to just veg out in these hot afternoon hours. Now, thankfully, the weather has calmed down. And so I was able to now shift my schedule to a more standard work day where I'm working in the mornings and afternoons and then chilling out in the evenings, because right now it's in the afternoon right now and it's not that hot, and I think hopefully it'll stay around this for the rest of my time here. But I just share this because it's important to give yourself well, it sounds like I'm saying you better be on top of your schedule, you better be on top of your schedule, and that's not my point. My point is, how can you take the goals that you have while you're on a residency and then the unexpected factors, things like temperature or room setup or how long it takes to walk somewhere, and make sure that those things are helping to feed into your goals. So please don't hear me as saying you better be on top of it at the beginning. It's more like, just remember, when you first arrive, you're going to be bombarded with a lot of newness. So it might take a few days for you to really feel out what your routine is going to be. And then, like I did with when the temperature changed, you might want to change that routine partway through. And like I said, if you're not big on routine and you like to be free flowing, then please do that. Then that's what works for you. But if you're somebody like me who likes to have a routine and then sometimes you struggle with creating that routine or maintaining that routine, I guess I'm just hoping that this helps, first of all, show you that, yeah, it does take some work and effort and it's not necessarily the fun part of what we're doing, but that it is findable and that you can find these solutions that will work for what you want to accomplish. Now, I will say, for people who do have very specific goals and deadlines that need to be met, like I do while I'm here, it does also help give you that structure so that you know when you might be okay with taking a little more time socializing and hanging out versus when you might want to just head back to your cottage and get some more work done. So there were some nights here where I did leave while people were still socializing. And, there's that internal feeling of, oh my gosh, am I missing out? Should I hang out more? Or, yeah, just that desire to not experience FOMO. But I had mapped out kind of what I need to get done. And so it was more important for me to go back to my cottage and to just trust that I would make the connections that I need to make. And I feel like that still happens. I'm still connecting with folks and enjoying their company. And I'm excusing myself when it's time to get work done because that's what other people are doing too. And it's pretty understood. You're not trying to be aloof or be antisocial. You got work to do. So we respect each other's boundaries and we respect when people need to take their time and not socialize. It also helps me know when it's okay to socialize more. For example, I got a little bit ahead of what I had anticipated, what I kind of mapped out for my day to day. And when I reached that point, I was like, all right, then I'm just going to enjoy the rest of the evening and maybe talk more and hang out and get to know some people more and take some more rest time in the evening. And I can feel like I'm doing that without the anxiety of I need to get more stuff done because I kind of have created a little outline of, where I need to be in order to feel like I'm reaching my goals here. All of that to say, when you first arrive at a residency, just be ready to be hit with newness. Start to think about what your routine could be. versus feeling like you need to just jump in and be productive. Like part of that productivity is going to be mapping out a bit of what your goals are for the residency, and allow that to also be that your goal is to be more open-ended and to not care about routine as much, to each their own. And then be ready for those routines to have to shift depending on different situations, because there's no point in trying to be too rigid either, especially in the creative process. We want to allow for those moments where we break away from some of that structure and some of that mapping out that we might do. So hopefully that's helpful. I don't know. I'm just kind of more sharing what it's been like for me getting used to my time being here. And good luck in all your creative endeavors and in getting to where you want to go with your projects. And these tips probably apply to when you're just at home too, not necessarily at a residency and just trying to formulate your routines. So yeah, just happy creating to you, and I will see you in my next video.